So Konami are giving a free epic card in eFootball this Thursday, the 24th of July, as part of the 30th anniversary. But which player to pick? We're going to go through all 15 players, show you the ultimate breakdown of all cards, and my top picks in a tier list, and the best training guides for every single player. Let's get straight into it. Now, we're also talking about the free card. If you have got a free spin for this, like we got with Oliver Kahn, let me know who you got in the comments below, and let me know who you're going to pick. But hopefully this video helps you out, because it can be quite difficult. And this is going to be one of my most in-depth videos ever of all time. So let's get straight into it and crack on with the top pick. One of the top picks, Fabio Cannavaro. So Cannavaro, I definitely think that his base stats are probably the best in this pack of the 15 players, right? He's got excellent skills, excellent stats, literally doesn't need anything. This is when you know that you've got a good card, right? He doesn't need any skills, genuinely. Like one-touch pass, any of these, forget about the skills. We've just thrown on a couple of troll skills on him because he doesn't need anything, really. But yeah, those skills to train, obviously, it's not going to be that big of a deal because he's got everything, right? It's 90 speed, 95 jumping, 90 physical contact, 91 balance, and then his stats in defense, nothing less than 95 in all stats. It's an insane card, and he's an easy choice. But we'll get into that towards the end of the video. Marco van Basten, 87 overall starting base with an aerial booster. We also have, of course, some really nice skills on display here. Couple of weaknesses with Van Basten. I definitely don't feel that he's like one of the meta guys. When I was streaming the other day, there's the builds, and lads, all the builds and all the progression guides are going to be under the manager. Every single player guide in this video, the manager is going to be Inzaghi, because a lot of people are using Inzaghi. Most people are using long ball counter or quick counter. So you will see the progression guide there. I'm not going to spend a massive amount of time talking about the builds, only for the top 4 or 5 players that I think are worth spinning. Speaking of top players that are worth getting, Paul Scholes. One of my favourite cards, definitely to use. We did get him on our main profile when we spun. And I definitely feel that he's a really good attacking midfielder with just 1 or 2 frailties to make him the main man. You do have to give him a lot of skills. Low lofted pass, fighting spirit, I think is a must and a necessity on him. But his build is very simple. Starting with shooting, it's a 6'6", 5'9", 11'2" build. He can play CMF, but best in an AMF. Striker's Instinct as his booster that you're going to train. He starts with Technique +2. Excellent stats, 90+ in ball control, tight possession, low pass, speed, acceleration, balance, everything. Speaking of centre forwards that can make a massive change to your squad, I think there's 2 or 3 players in this that actually are best used as super subs, right? So Diego Forlan is definitely fitting that build for me. I know a lot of people will have the similar feeling about him with Van Basten, and people will really rate Forlan. I probably don't rate Forlan as high as some other people, but he is an absolute amazing super sub if you want to bring him on, because he can do it all. He's basically like Rummy. 90+ speed, acceleration, balance, finishing, free kicks if you need a free kick taker, and his attacking awareness or offensive awareness is unbelievable. But if you give him gamesmanship and super sub, you will have one of the best strikers in the game for free. Now, speaking also of one of the best cards in the game, Caceres right now is, apart from having one little bit of a negative on his card, it is the fact that he is an attacking fullback rather than a defensive fullback. If this guy was a defensive fullback, with these stats, with player skill fortress, and with this build where you're starting with an unbelievable player that can play CB or left back, 90+ speed, 90+ in all his defensive stats, strong, fast, agile, a little bit of paciness to him as well, and good attacking awareness and low pass and lofted pass. Very solid. We can't mention this video without mentioning Wayne Wazza-Rooney, brand new legend in the game, down as an SS hole player. Now, I'll be honest with you, looking at Rooney on the stats or looking at him on paper, and it's why I always say, eFootball is not an Excel simulator, lads. I keep saying this, and people keep going on about data and going on about, all these stats. At the end of the day, if you've played with Rooney and you've been lucky enough to spin him on your free, I definitely think that he is a good choice if you are looking to spend your contract on somebody in this. Very solid card without having like overpowered or overrated stats or overblown visual stats. Yes, he doesn't go to 90+ possession. His physical contact is very poor and his aggression is poor, but he's a very solid option and a different type of player. Gareth Bale down as a goal poacher. Originally, I was a little bit down on this card because I obviously have the big beast Real Madrid version Bale. But this guy's got blitz curler. That's the main thing that you're going to be focused on with him. You throw on one touch pass, double touch, and chip shot control. You've got a really good, like solid centre forward. He is overshadowed by one other player in this, which we'll get to. But a very solid build with 10 into dexterity and 10 into shooting gives you this build here, which is huge pace. Iker Casillas, I think we can all kind of agree that this is probably the weakest player of the pack. If not the weakest, probably the second weakest. Himself and another Brazilian man that we'll see in a second. Now that's not to say that Iker Casillas can't be a beast for you, but you need to give him a couple of bits and pieces such as low punt as a skill to train, and also his goalkeeping catching. While it's a weak point at the gameplay at the moment that keepers spill a lot of balls, I just think that Casillas compared to Can in this pack it's just not even worth a comparison. Like Oliver Kahn is an absolute unit down as a defensive goalkeeper. They both are similar cards in terms of their boosters and their skills and their missing skills. Obviously, you can give Oliver Kahn low punt as well, but look at the difference in the stats, and it feels like it on the pitch as well. I would still rank Schmeichel, Cech, Buffon above anyone else, but Kahn is right there with him. Now, people are calling this guy Romario Light. I think he's definitely as good as the older Romario. Romario just has a couple of different bits and pieces about him. The best thing I like about Bebeto is you literally don't need to train him. He's got ball roll off the rip. You don't need to give him any of that. One touch pass. Again, we talk about Forlan and having that super sub style. This is a similar kind of way I would train Bebeto. But look at the stats. Absolutely insane with that build there. I mean, it's just an incredible card. Now, again, I've been really kind of biased against this guy. I've been really kind of like not treating him that much respect because I just haven't really played with him that much and I haven't seen that many people play with him. Plus, the biggest thing is there's a lot of these type of players in the game. He's not at the upper end. And the reason for that is I think because of his lack of finishing and physical contact and balance compared to the other meta guys. But still a very solid option. Now, this is where it kind of, makes me a bit of a hypocrite because Xabi Alonso has actually got worse stats on paper and visually he doesn't look as good, but I've played a lot with Alonso. So if you've played with Stochkovic and you're actually beasting with him, this could be a similar thing that you could apply to what I'm saying about Xabi Alonso because I think he's definitely probably in the top 10 underrated cards in the game. 100%. He's an amazing card. Like he can pip, we'll see a few gameplay clips at him at the end. And I know you guys will be interested where I put him on my tier list, but he's so overpowered if you actually play him the way you can play him. Danielson, don't want to spend too much time on him. Wingers and cross specialists are a dime a dozen in this game. I wouldn't spend my contract on him. I mean, I just think that it's just a weak option. Even though he's got ball roll, you don't need to train him up too much. He's no finishing, he's no physicality, he's no real anything going about him. And you need to pump in a lot of stats and progression points, including 10 into lower body and 10 into passing to get his stats a bit kind of up to standard. Now, it can be very difficult, lads, when you're looking at what card to get, and obviously you're going to be, attracted to the star names and maybe cards you've come up against. A lot of people were using early doors Puyol. This is a weak version of Puyol in my opinion. Does he play really, really solid in the pitch? Yes, he does. But I just feel like if you're going to be picking a CB, you just cannot pick Puyol over Cannavaro. Unless you already have Cannavaro or Thuram and you're looking for something a little bit different. I mean, he's solid. I mean, his speed doesn't go to 85, which is the threshold. He doesn't have any weak stat apart from that, but he's just not it, in my opinion. And then last but not least, to round us off on the player profiles and the 15 players, player number 15 is Kaká. Creative playmaker. Again, some people love him, some people hate him. Right, and I do feel that I have played with Kaká. I find him a little clunky. This build of him that we're going to show you here, I feel like you have to put a lot of stats into it. And even at that, even though he's got unbelievable dribbling stats, he just feels a little clunky in the game. I think it's just because of his height and his player model. So, yeah, I just don't feel like that he's definitely at that level. Like, I definitely feel that he can be good for you. And similar maybe to Cruyff, where I might come back around. But we're going to move on and show you guys my tier list, okay? This is my tier list, starting with S, moving to A, then to B. So it's fairly self-explanatory here. Obviously, everyone's going to have favourite players. I think if you're looking for the definitive best card to pick that you will definitely not regret, it's Cannavaro. He's just got everything. You don't need to train up any skills in him. He's literally able to fit into any system, any playstyle, any skill level. He's an absolute beast. And don't let people tell you that he's not, tall enough that he can't win aerial battles. He's unreal in the air. Another player I definitely kind of am a little bit down on is Van Basten. Can he pop him in for you? Yeah. but I just feel like that he's a little bit clunky up front as well. And you probably have a card that's very similar to him. I don't know, is it worth actually putting your selection contract on him? Cue people in the comments saying, oh, I've scored 1,000 goals in 10 games with him. Of course, there's always going to be rules to it or exceptions to the rule. One card that I would definitely champion is Xabi Alonso. You're going to see a clip here. Fabio Cannavaro blocks it. He gets the chance off. Vieira passes to Musiala. Xabi Alonso peels off, little 1-2, meta play, and then he finishes a little bit of calm and compose. And Xabi Alonso's skills and stats don't really back up how good he is in game. He's an amazing card, definitely an underrated card. Wayne Rooney, right? Rooney, I played with Rooney on the stream on Monday. If you guys want to go back and watch the live and you watch everything, but Rooney's one of these cards. He just definitely plays above the stats. He doesn't have amazing aerial ability, but he's beaten Van Dijk in the air. So go figure where the game is at in terms of certain logic and certain reasons why I always try and test out players rather than just, treating it as data, like strictly data. Because the game sometimes flies in the face of logic of what should and could happen on the pitch. Similarly, why you could have Bebeto beating Van Dijk in the air. The game is just a bit crazy at the moment. Rounding it off there, lads, I tried to keep it as fair as possible with 5 in S, 5 in A, and 5 in B. You could mix and match these around. I mean, there isn't really no difference, I think, between the middle section. I definitely stand over the 5 at the top. And again, just be a little bit kind of... The biggest thing that frustrates me, right, is I think that people are so, eager to chase being an absolute beast at the game and winning games and having so many, just kind of being the best at the game all the time. I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of this as well, I think sometimes we can kind of get, obsessed with having a player that hits every single stat and looks to have the most amazing stats, right? There genuinely is no reason in getting Cannavaro if you have a back four of Maldini, Thuram, Bergomi, Araujo, Nesta, any of those boys. If you have those, or Van Dijk, if you have those and you're set with your back four, you don't need to change it. You don't need to rock the cart. You can literally just say, right, I don't need Cannavaro. Similarly, if you've got a really solid keeper between the sticks, Buffon, Cech, another version of Can, Schmeichel, Seaman, Dida, any of those, you don't need to get Can just because he's a really good goalkeeper in it, unless you really want him. Similarly, as I showed you in the clips there, there's no point getting Scholesy if you're not going to be taking shots from AMF and taking shots and scoring long-range bangers. There's no point getting Bebeto if you're not going to be using a small and tall up front and, playing kind of little pick and pops and little triangles. There's no point getting any of the cards if you're not going to use their strengths because they're not one all card. This is not Pele. There's no Pele in this pack or Hoynes or cards that have unbelievable no weakness such as Thuram. Even Cannavaro, he is an absolute beast, but he does have one or two kind of errors in him. So that is it for me, lads. Let me know what you guys think. This is a very in-depth video, so if you appreciate it, please do smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be live when we do this. So you come over to the live stream, check it out, see what player I sign, and we'll test him, train him up. But those are the builds I'm going to use. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll talk to you later. Peace.